All right, guys, good night. I'm going to do a breakdown of the 316 pip move I caught on gold on Thursday or Friday. One of those moves. So I'm just going to do a quick breakdown of that. All right, so we're going to start from, top down analysis real quick. All right, so currently, my previous video, as you can see, I had gold being bullish, going back to all-time highs, which are up here. So as you can see, we had, I'm going to mark off these recent resistance that was broken by gold and the current resistance that we're currently sitting at right now. All right. So we would have had this Fibonacci here from down here since November 22nd, right? And we had all 23.6s, right? So currently this is where I have my Fib. So we're currently sitting at a 38.2 retracement on the daily and the weekly. So the TP, as you can see, is to hit the all-time highs. So that's currently what I'm floating with, right? So straight down to the daily, right? So the daily would have had, you're sitting on this strong level of support right here, right? So we had a higher high on the daily, right? So I'm just gonna use the path real quick to show you guys what we have right here. We have a higher high, right? So I'm gonna go down to the H4 and just do some technical analysis, right? So we had this, nice bearish trend that was flowing down here. The short-term bearish, to do the correction of that, all this bullish move. So, we had this, basically this bearish pressure being broken. So I had my counter trend line basically right here, and we broke above, right? So price started to break, I think 1 hour resistance within here. We had a little retracement and then we pushed up and made a high, right? So now currently, right, we are bullish, right? Especially with price breaking above this recent, just to go back into bullish bias, do like acknowledge the 38. So we broke above this here. As you see, this is the median of this area here. We have the daily, as you can see, it's tested all that bearish and bullish candle. Hold on, let me just make sure this is set correctly. Right, we had that being the median of this resistance here. We broke above it, the solid bullish candle. And you can see here multiple 4 hour candles, right? So I was kind of indecisive of price not, holding this support and continue to push up. It went all the way back down. So we basically traded below this uh low to make a higher low and push up, right? So I would have had a fib from this area here. I think this was 23.6. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think this was actually 23.6, and we actually did a pullback retracement to the 17.6. But yeah, so this is what I had. All right, so we had the Fibonacci from this low to the high, and this is a PP, right, which is at 1870, right, which we hit on Friday last week, right? So how I would have entered my trade is based off of, as you know, the H4. I only do H4 setups, right? So until H4 doesn't give me, support, I'm not really looking for any trades on the lower time frame. So down here was a move I came out of, to be honest, because I was looking at NAS at the time. But I'm going to show you the two breakdowns real quick. All right, so I'm just going to draw my random line. As you can see here, this is what I do to look at my trade. All right, so I'm just going to put these random lines in yellow, light yellow, real quick, so we can show you the trades, right? So we could have gotten two push, could have been two scaling orders, basically, right? So we had price make a support down here, bearish and bullish candle, so that went straight down to the 30 minutes. So let's look at this one first, right? Which is this push first, right? So we're gonna go to this area right here. I use a little bit of the MA also, just to see what was happening, right? So as you can see, this random line I have here is the H4 bearish and bullish candle, right? So this is a strong level of support for the 3 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15, 10, 5, 3, and 1. So there's no need for me to overthink this, as once I wait on the H4 to form a bearish and bullish candle, there's a strong level of support. So all I'm doing now is just doing my technicals and waiting on lower time frame transitions, right? So as you can see right here, we had price make a high, basically buyers came into the market around this resistance right here. So we broke this consolidation, buyers into the market. So obviously after buyers in the market, you're gonna get a pullback, right? So now you would have basically tracked the counter trend, something like this. I'm gonna put this in black. We can go down to the 15 so we can get a little bit more details. Right, so you can see the MA crossing basically. So that would have given you some sort of confidence also with taking the trade, right? So I would have entered a little bit late, to be honest. I entered at the high, which is I think I had my stop loss below this last higher low, which I think I came out before it hit my stop loss, right? So, but the ideal way to put the stop loss is below the previous high, not this one, right? So, it would have still somewhat gotten stopped out because it was a bit too early, because as you can see, price is making low highs, you know what I'm saying? So until we kind of broke above this resistance right here, we could have looked for, an entry, right? And could have gone down to the 5 minutes and just see how the transition, or you could have just done the basic so resistance and support, break and retest basically, right? But this retest, you got to be on point for this retest basically, you know what I'm saying? Because as you can see, the news came out at 8:30, right? So me seeing things like this, let me put this. So as you can see, I'm going to take off the MA, right? And I'm seeing here a higher low, right? So it's kind of seeing like a little bit of a higher low being built up here, you know what I'm saying? So anything above that, I could have basically looked for an entry. And you can see how I have the, what do you call it? The the counter trend line tracking the bearish pressure, right? So I could have had it like here, could have had it like here. It all depends on the situation, but I usually keep it at the high. You know what I'm saying? So you see, as we were bouncing off of the trend line, we made like a higher low and a higher low. So, some indications that you could have looked for any sort of buy. So that's the 10 minutes. Then I could have seen even this sexy candle right here. I would have been able to take an entry on. That's during the morning, right? Just before London session just kicked off. My entry would have been there, and my stop loss would have been below this higher low. Should have been like 33 pips, and it would have been for the move would have been to the previous support, which I usually take my TP to the previous high or the support. So as you can see, we came to the support right here, which is right here. So this could have been an entry, an exit point. You could obviously hold your order because you know what you're doing on the higher time frame, basically. So that would have been one order there, right? And along with the MA, as you can see, the MA was basically sloping onto this, but I already knew that we kind of broke this resistance here and we're kind of bullish. All these were 23.6, I want to believe. So price traded below this low. It was kind of iffy, but yeah. So then the other order came out with bullish and bearish candles. So when I saw this other bullish and bearish candle, this would have been the entry that I took. So this one here, I just came out earlier. So let's go to this one right here. I'm gonna move this. I'm going to look at this one here. So as you can see here, we have bearish and bullish candle right here. So this is a strong level of support for 3 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, and every other time frame. All right, so cool. So what I did, I went straight to the 15 to look for some details. Right, so when we went to the 15 minutes, we saw some structure point. So we could basically draw some structure point. But usually, I always like to wait until the candle closes. So as you can see, we had this candle open at 10 a.m., closed at 2. Then this open at 2, closed at 6. This open at 6, close at 10. This open at 10, close at 2. So I see a bullish and bearish candle. Now I'm just drawing my random line to see if this is respected, right? So between that time frame, all I'm doing is between the H4 closure and the 15 minutes just to see what is basically happening, right? So again, this was, I think, during the night, right? So we would have had that H4 support found on between 2 and 5. So let's say 2 and 5. Well, I usually like to wait for 2 to 4 consecutive candles before I enter. As you can see, the same thing like down here, right? So we have between 2 and 10 p.m. and between 2 and 2 a.m. you would have had some sort of indication that price is going to go bullish, right? So let's look at the candlestick analysis, right? So between 2 at a high, so let's use the path just to see if we can draw it out a little better. We have here, 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 here. Price getting a low down here. Then we had a little transition here, a little bullish structure here, right? But also what I do, again, is always to track the bearish pressure to see what price is doing, right? So as you can see here, we have a low high, a low, low high, a low, low, low high. We have a higher low here. So me seeing this high low building up on this 15 minutes here could have been some sort of indication along with the MA crossing as a trend line, right? So this is why I love the MA a lot, because it helps me to get better with using like for entry points and also tracking like the trend. So as you can see, the MA is riding along very cleanly, so I can use the trend line. I didn't have to put a trend line there. All I had to use is just the MA to see, hey, let me see if I can draw a trend line here. And as you can see, boom. So This is the bearish, this is the counter trend line that I'm tracking, the bearish pressure, because if we're supposed to continue bearish, we would have continued this structure. As you can see, this bearish structure here to go down. So, right, but we didn't, right? So again, I'm in bullish bias. I'm going to look for bullish moves. So as you can see, we broke above this, even with this resistance right here. So let's mark off this support, right? We back off the support here, and we can look at that price is above that support. So as you can see, we've been testing that. Let me take off the MA so you can see clearly. I'm going to move this trend line. We don't need that anymore, right? So back of the trend line, you see prices above this resistance. You know, buyers are in the market. Buyers are in the market. Basically, we're at the back of the trend line. So I can tell my entry was on this candle right here on the 15 minutes. I think I'm not looking at my phone right now, but it was between this area here, right here. This is my entry, and my stop loss was below the last high or low, right? So it was somewhat this, but I went down to the 5 minutes, I think, also just to draw out some details, right? So I think my price was above here, two bearish, yeah, on this, and I put my stop loss right here. So it's about like I think 42 pips I'll be below here. I'm not too sure. I don't remember, but this is the entry point here, as you can see. So and that went to the overall TP bit, which is based off of this Fibonacci here. So we pushed all the way to 1870, sorry. Obviously price has to make a high, right? So that's why I was holding it to that point. Let me just adjust the fib correctly real quick. Yeah, so we was holding it to the TP, which is here. Why is this fib set like this? Hold on. 1 second. Oh yeah. So we already hit the TP. Yeah, cool. So this is a TP, which has been 1870, and it was about for 316 pips. I closed out my order right around here, right? Because it was kind of pulling back. So I closed out my order, but as you can see, the market opened with bullish pressure right to the 61.8. So that's here, and that's a banger. That's a banger trade, banger. You know what I'm saying? So obviously we made a high. So currently you just gotta wait on another H4 setup. So for me to continue the bullish move, you know what I'm saying? So it's just about being patient and waiting on that setup, you know what I'm saying? So I am looking for gold to continue going to the highs of 2070, right? So it's just a waiting game to see what happens, but I'll definitely keep you guys updated on that. That's my trade breakdown of gold. Sorry for the long webinar.